I'm Eric Miscoll with EMSNOW, and welcome to the show floor here at IPC Apex in San Diego. I am at the Panasonic booth with Gustavo, it's good we interviewed you once before, but it's good to meet you in person.
It is really good to meet you in person, and I am very happy to have a chat with you again.
Good. Before I get into some of the questions I want to ask, how's it been so far at the show?
Great. I am very happy that the customers are back, the suppliers are back, and the attendance that we are seeing is more or less at the same level before COVID, which for me means back to reality, back to the old normal, which is very positive. And the flow that we have seen in the booth is constant and very crowded. So very happy with the attendance.
Good. Now, there's a topic that I'm going to ask you about that I find fascinating, and you're a big, and you talk about manufacturing hubs, but new ones, and specifically in the Midwest.
Yes.
And the Midwest was always a real strength within the United States market, a lot of industrial companies and work up there. But tell me about your thoughts on that, because I think it's a great story.
It is a great story, and what I can tell you is that at this moment we are seeing a lot of companies that need more capacity in their plants. Why is the reason? There is a lot of reshoring from products that were being made in Asia, and now they are coming back to the US, let's say for 4 reasons, if I remember the 4 reasons. One was COVID, that was very difficult. Then it was lack of components, and then the transportation from Asia to North America.
The cost issue.
The cost and the time was significantly worse. And last, and maybe the most critical and sad, is the geopolitical challenges that we have with Ukraine. When you combine these 4 challenges at the same time, in the same year, customers want to have manufacturing practically in their backyards. They do not want to manufacture in Asia, China, Taiwan, whatever, because if anything happens with these 4 variables, only with one, that is going to be catastrophic. If you add the potential that several of these 4 variables can happen at the same time, that means that you need to shut down your operation, and that is not acceptable. So the Midwest is attracting a lot of this new investment, and something very important, Eric, the CHIPS Act that the U.S. Congress approved, is going to be $39 billion that will be spent in the next more or less 10 years. But during the next 10 years, we are going to see a lot of investments in chips, and a lot of companies will produce chips in the U.S. Today, 94% of the chips are produced in China, but those chips are used for everything. I mean, just here in the cell phones, in the computer, in the planes, in the cars. So the idea is to bring the chips production, at least part of it, to the US. And then something very important. Once you produce the chip, the obvious next step is you are going to populate the printed circuit board in the US. You are not going to produce the chip here just to send it back to China, populate the board in China, and then bring it back. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So I see a lot of electronics manufacturing growth in the US or in North America in general. And I think the next 10 years will be great for us. And I am optimistic for the new people, for example, that are starting new careers. In the past, you were not able to find a lot of people that wanted to work in manufacturing for obvious reasons. Now, a new field is being open for new students for the next generation, and that is going to be great. The Midwest is seeing a lot of this, as you well mentioned. And
would there be other regions, do you think, in the country that'll develop hubs too, on the West or East Coast? Do you see something similar happening?
I see maybe 2 regions. The south of the U.S., the Texas region, I think that is going to grow. And maybe not in the U.S., but Mexico is also receiving part of these benefits. But I think the government will be very clever in what to produce in the U.S. and what to produce in Mexico. And Yeah.
No, that's very good. What I want to also ask about are kind of the emerging technologies that are creating efficiencies in manufacturing. We're on your show floor. We have a lot of the equipment. We'll show some of the pictures here as we move forward. But tell us about that.
I can tell you three things, and I will try to be fast and not to give you a lecture. One is we are trying to integrate the software as much as we can to the hardware. And the idea is not to sell a product, is to sell a complete solution that integrates the hardware with the software with a full support package that the customer can receive, and they do not need to focus in the equipment, they need to focus in growing their business, and the solution works by itself. So integration hardware software is number one. Number two, now that you are asking, we are presenting two new products here at Apex. One is the new screen printer. I will try to be very generic. 60% of the errors or the problems in quality are generated in the printer. With the new printer, you have huge benefits, and I will tell you, with the old printers that the market offers, you normally need 15 minutes to do the changeover, and besides the time, you need a lot of labor, skilled labor, to do that change. With the new printer that we have, instead of spending 15 minutes, you only need 3 minutes and no labor. You push one button and that's it. No. This is massive because besides the time that you save, you minimize the need to constantly train people, because you need a lot of skilled labor, a problem in the US right now and in all the countries, and now you do not need that skilled labor because you literally push one button and all the changeover is done automatic. The other one, the auto setting feeder. Normally when you load the reel, you need to manually peel the reel, and that process takes 45 seconds per reel. Now you only load the reel and it is done automatically, and it takes 20-25 seconds. You may say, well, Gustavo, we are going to save 20 seconds. Yes, 20 seconds per reel. Exactly. Yeah. So when you take the screen printer and the auto setting feeder, you are talking potentially about 30-40 minutes less in the auto changeover. If your factory has high mix, this is a massive benefit. So these are three examples of the technologies that we consider new and that we are offering to the market.
You know, you mentioned the screen printer, and I was going to ask, what about inkjet? I talked to some EMS, and they seem high on the idea of inkjet printers.
Yes.
Does Panasonic offer one? Do you have an opinion on the benefits of one over the other?
No, we are focusing on this one at this moment, and the feedback that we have received from the market is very positive. 3 customers told me yesterday, Gustavo, the printer has been the best thing we have seen at the show. So very happy with this.
Good. And now you touch on another topic when you're in there, which is the employee training, so workforce issues. As you said, workforce issues are a challenge for this industry, all industries, as it seems globally, right? Even baristas, they're hard to find, right? Tell me about your views on that and how you see that improving.
What we are doing at Panasonic, I can give you 2-3 examples. One is trying to build the equipment to reduce the skills that you need. And this is something that, okay, if you need less skills, you partially mitigate this problem. So that is number one. Number two, we understand that customers still need to train their employees. And we are trying to develop a lot of online training so that people, instead of traveling to our demo room and spending 1 week there, they can take all these trainings virtually. Why? Because companies cannot afford to send people, and then with the high rotation, that is even more difficult because people leave in 3, 6, 9 months, and then you need to start all over again. So we are trying to offer these packages. And when you combine the online training plus the fact that the machines require less training themselves, the combination is very positive. I still believe that people will always be needed, no question about it, and I do not want to say, well, that is not needed. Yes, we will always need people, but we are trying to be more efficient in a way that the people can work in what provides more value instead of spending time cleaning one stencil and doing those tasks, because companies need people in many areas, and a lot of value is there that companies need to grab, and we are trying to help companies to get this value.
And that hopefully also makes the industry more attractive to younger people. You know, they have 500 students on the floor today touring around trying to introduce them. I think that's a good initiative.
Yes.
But it's not here you get to clean a stencil. Here you get to run a machine like this. Look at the robotics.
Exactly
Look at
right.
this automation that you're in. And that's exciting for people, I would think.
One example, instead of cleaning that stencil, you are going to do the programming for the machine. I mean, that is by far more value. And that is what we need people to do right now.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, Gustavo, we're gonna take some pictures of some of the machines to share with the audience as well. It's always good to catch up with you. You're always an insightful and good interview. So I thank you, and hopefully we catch up again in the future.
Always a pleasure, Eric. Anytime.
Thank you.